Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. I am so grateful and humbled that I have 65 subscribers right now. I can't even. I know that sounds small and like, do you understand that there's people with millions? I get it. But like for me, it's big, it's huge, and I'm so grateful. Thank you all for being here. I told myself, don't look at the numbers. It's gonna make you nervous. And it does. It still does. And that's okay. So I need to go over a few different things that I'm being called to go over, which is number one, more drawn out mission statement for the channel. And then, things I keep getting tapped on the shoulder to say. So when you get tapped on the shoulder by spirit and then you ignore it, it comes out in physical form. That's not fun. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So, mission statement. Working through life and its traumas and its triumphs and its tribulations in a more healthy way. Bringing, what's gone before with kind of science, psychology, and spirit. Okay, so I'm going to plug it again. I know I don't get many views on it, but that's okay. The Psyche thing, I'm going to start doing Psyche reads tomorrow. I got a lot of homework to do, you guys. It's a lot. Like, I'm trying to, read this book and then incorporate it into this because it hasn't been done before. So here we are, being weird. Scientific with psychology and bring it into spirituality. So that's kind of the idea, is that we're moving into a paradigm where we're trying to be spiritual, and then we've got people that want nothing to do with spirits, and they think that the vast ethos is just random crap, basically. 90% of our DNA is just junk DNA, according to the white coats. And I'm like, I don't think that. Okay, so we have ancestors, we have parents, we have grandparents, we have all the way back, right? So that's coded in our DNA. We're like little computers. The helix thing, that's a code. So that's holding all those memories and experiences that have been passed down literally through DNA. So it's confusing how they come up with these conclusions. And again, not a scientist by any means. Sure, help yourself. Yoda would like in on a little chitty-chat. Okay, so kind of combining the two, not neglecting that aspect of the self, right? Not being totally egotistical about it and saying if we can't see it in a test tube, it doesn't exist. So Heart Math Institute debunks that. So frequency, energy, vibration, bringing it into the physical realm so we can understand it, right? So like animist, animal work, masculine, feminine energies, which we've totally lost a grasp of. And which probably might, in the current state, probably is a good thing, because now we have a total clean slate to wipe everything, and start all over again, right? Because of what's happening. And I don't know. Well, that's a whole nother video. And I'm not ready to go there yet. But this slate has been wiped clean, as much trauma on it as there is, and that's the one place that we do need to sit with, right? We need to sit in that space of absolute horrific trauma, in that divisionary and separate state. Because we're not islands, we're connected, right? We're connected. It doesn't mean we're one, it means we're connected. So getting down to that on a more understandable level, rather than it's all spiritual or it's all psychological and blah blah, and do this thing, take this medicine, and then why aren't you healed yet type of situation. Obviously, it's not working. Okay, I am just one person trying to figure this stuff out. So coming to spirit with those situations and maybe asking for some insight. I'm not saying I'm going to find any answers. I'm not saying I have any answers. I'm saying let's explore. Because what we have, not doing the trick, kids. Not doing the trick. Okay, at some point, we have to sit in the pudding. Okay, and that's why so many people are going through the dark nights of the soul, which I'm going to call dark night of the goal, because I'm tired of this. Okay, so at some point, we need to sit with the pudding, and the pudding is not good. So whatever we're putting in the pudding isn't good either. So what are we putting in the pudding? Say that 5 times fast, right? So what we're putting in the pudding is not working. We need to find different things to access to help us along in this journey. Okay. And again, I am just one blade of grass of millions, billions, whatever it is on this journey. I am not the only one who's like, let's heal the masculine, feminine. Let's, you know, which is probably going to take lifetimes. But you know what? If I die researching this and trying to expose it and whatever else, still doing it, I'm okay with that. This is so worth it. It is, humanity is worth it. As horrible as we can be, we have so much greater potential than what we are allowing ourselves to experience right now. And that's the travesty of it. So that's the other part of it, right? Instead of being in this traumatic experience repeatedly, you know, repeating the trauma bond to bind again and again and again to it. Detach, unbind yourself. Because that's not how we're supposed to live. That's not what we were intended to do. But somehow, it took over the planet. And we have a choice to make ourselves sovereign. And to authentically connect with spirit. And then, therefore, authentically connect to each other. And then bind ourselves to a contract we are fully and completely aware of on a very conscious level. See, I think I touched on this yesterday. Informed consent. So right now we're creating all these ties and bonds and we're not informed about them at all. You know, you can read any kind of esoteric or, you know, binding spell, regale, religious literature you want. And you can resonate with it. Heck yeah. But at the same time, are you paying attention to how that rubber meets the road? What are the actual outcomes and the consequences for taking your spiritual life force, vital force, energy, whatever you want to call it, and putting it up into the universe and holding that up? What is the consequence for that? I'm not going to answer that for you. I need you to look at the world and look at the proof in the pudding. What's the consequence? Okay? So getting to this through astrology, and I spent 12 years managing a greenhouse. Persephone is my archetype, and I am Scorpio stellium. So, big time into Earth. Okay. Boho check. So, and to shed some light on the path that seems to not so be less taken than I was led to believe. But it's a pathway that's not all love and light. It can't be. It cannot. The universe has to be balanced. That is a law that you do not get away from. I don't care who we are or what you're doing or how things are working out. You do not get away from sitting alone in the darkness and assessing it and dealing with things. Not only the hard things that were traumatizing, but also the things that were ripped away from you because of the trauma binds. Okay, so not only does the horrific stuff that you refuse to look at and sit with exist in the dark, but those very sacred and powerful gifts that you were entrained to deny from the very beginning are also sitting there. Let me say that again. The horror that you think awaits you in the dark is actually your golden ticket to freedom. Yep, it's not easy. This is not love and light pathway, kids. We are living in, okay, we are waiting in the nasty ass pudding that, bye kids. We're waiting in the pudding that we put out into the universe. And now the universe is like, well, that's the energy that you, butterfly affected out to us. Here is the physical reality of that frequency, energy, vibration. Yet again, we're looking it in the face. Yet again, we're not learning our lesson. Okay, so again, it's not all love and light, because taking personal responsibility means that you don't get to tune off on the news and say, well, that's just not, yeah. So some part of you contributed to that. And so you need to go inside and fix it, right? That's a hard pill for some people to swallow. And if that means that you unsub right now, I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. I want a community of people that is down for understanding that we hold space no matter what. That we hold space no matter what. Looking at those hard, cold aspects of ourselves that have lifted up this energy and put it on that Two of Pentacles, sent it out into the ethos and said, hey, what do you think about this frequency, energy, vibration? And then the universe sends it back to us and we're like, well, that's not my reality. That's someone else's. That may be true to some extent, but why are we getting this? Why are we getting all these negative effects on the planet? What's happening because of that? What's the source of it? Hi, did you want a close-up of my coffee cup? Isn't she pretty? Okay. So, anyway. So, a balance of the two. The yin, the yang. The masculine, the feminine. The darkness and the light. And all that other good gravy. We need to hold everything into existence, because it's not, how do I explain this in a way that makes sense? If you are putting out nothing but light into the universe, your dark night of the soul is going to be the most atrocious thing. I cannot express to you enough how much importance it is to hold the light and the dark up equally, because it's just the known and the unknown. That's all the universe sees. It does not see good and evil. It does not see good or bad. And this is a really hard concept for a lot of people, especially myself included, because I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school. I went to freaking Mass twice a week. Heavily indoctrinated into a system that doesn't understand the hierarchy of the laws. So our laws are based off the regales, right? So whatever regale happens to rule the land, right? Above that is the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, and laws of spirit. And we were never taught that. We were never taught that there's a hierarchy of laws. So when the universe says things must be balanced, well, the universe is going to balance it for you, and you don't get a say. That's why they tell you, you signed up for this, you signed up to come here. And that's a really hard pill for some people to swallow. And I understand. For years, I was like, I don't understand what... I don't even understand what that meant at the time. I didn't understand what a lot of things meant. And that's okay. Everybody has a level of process that they need to go through. I mean, this is freaking almost... Oh my God, you guys. This is like 20-some years for me. It's a lot of undoing. It's a lot of undoing. It's not attaching yourself to any one thing. It's an unattaching yourself to things. And that's what a lot of people don't say. I need this in my life. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get this. I need to get that. I need to... It is a lot of releasing and letting go. Unbecoming the person that you were yesterday. Unraveling from the things that are not serving you, not serving your family, not serving the community, not serving your country, and not serving the world. Butterfly effect. So if you believe that source, God, divine, whatever, universe, whatever it is, you are also in service to that. And those are things that you do not get to avoid. You do not get to be exempt from that. Whether you believe in that there's a creator or not a creator, you still are bound to the laws of nature, to the laws of the universe, and to laws of spirit. That upsets people, and I understand. But you don't get to escape it either. So if you ignore it, you're just going to see the physical outcome of it, if you will. So what does this mean? Our coping and comfort mechanisms are going to, I would venture to say they probably already stopped working. And that's a difficult pill to swallow because it's the one thing we were able to hold on to, whether it was cigarettes, whether it's drinking, food, opening up a particular holy sacred book and finding what we needed from it. It's not gonna cut it anymore, and that's for a reason. That's for a really good reason, because when we can't go outside of ourselves to find a numbing mechanism or an escape or a scapegoat, we have to sit with ourselves. We have to sit with ourselves and everything we are. And we have to learn to accept everything we are. And if we don't like aspects of ourselves, we need to change them. Nobody's going to do it for us. You have to do the work. You have to be responsible. So, that's a difficult task. It was for me. It was a really difficult task. And I don't have any of the answers. I can tell you how I got through it. I can give you a few things to help you along on the path. In the end, you have to decide what is right for you and your pathway forward. I'm just here like trying to give you a little bit of something to navigate you through these waters, right? And I've heard a lot of people say that like tarot reading fills a void. What tarot did for me was expose how deeply I needed to connect with myself, how deep I wanted to go into myself and connect with spirit rather than anything outside of myself. That's what tarot gave me. And I'm hoping I can turn around and gift that to someone else. I have my little blank tarot cards that I cut up last night. Percolating. So I got two decks that are right now blank. So this one's going to be kind of like a general all-around balanced deck. And this is going to be a heavy-duty, not heavy-duty, kind of the golden nuggets in the dark, if you will. The golden nuggets. Those pineapples. Those little flowers. Oh, we gotta be with. So, yeah, I am going to see if I can, since everything is so beautifully thin right now between this world and all the others, tap into some of that energy and put some stuff on my own cards. I see a lot of tarot card readers do that, and I was like, oh, that is so brilliant. So if you guys like want me to write a few things on a card, hit me up in the comments. Like, could you write this on a card? Could you write that on the card? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be love and light. It can be, you know, this happened to me when I was a kid. The R word, the SA, the, you know, abuse of this, abuse of that, triggering stuff, okay? Because we need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to be willing to go there, and we need to hold space for people who are in it, right? What else? So, dark night of the goal. The goal of the dark night is to connect you with yourself. So, people think of it as like this horrible isolation time and where you're just in a torture chamber. That is a mental decision to put yourself in the torture chamber. Yes, it's supposed to hurt. Yes, it's supposed to inflict some triggering things so you learn how to grow there. But that's where the growth happens. That's how the growth happens. So, yes, it is painful. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's isolating. I'm not denying any of that. But the whole purpose of it is to grow beyond it. What does a little seed do? Think about a little seed that you planted in the dirt, right? You water it and you give it some warmth. It's not hidden. Sunlight's not going to hit it if it's buried, right? Sunlight's not coming in. So it's completely dark. It's incubating in the death and decay, which is going to feed it to help it sprout. Okay, so what needs to happen when moisture and warmth hit it? It needs to crack open and then come forth to reach the sunlight. So explain to me how that process is demonic and horrible and should be shunned. Explain that to me, because I don't understand. This is the essence of life itself. Do you kind of get how, maybe that's not such a great idea? Maybe I don't need to make that a horrible, awful, disgusting thing and shame myself even more for being there? No, you're in a growth process. Honor it. Don't shun it. Don't shame it. You are a whole, beautiful person who deserves to walk in the light. This is true. How are you going to do that if you haven't experienced any dark? How are you going to know what it's like to grow and thrive if you don't know what feeds you? Because that's what the dirt does. That's what the darkness does. It feeds you. It's the root system carrier. That's where you get your nutrients from. Again, just my perspective, but it has served me in more ways than I can possibly explain right now. So, maybe not demonizing the darkness. And let's talk a little bit about the devil while we have some time. So, the devil. Lumi McLumerton. Okay, the great illuminator. All it's doing is asking you to look at where the holes in the voids are and bring the light towards it. That's it, that's all. All he's doing is sitting there with his torch going, so you want to look at this yet? Or are you going to keep, sending this shit up in flames? Or did you want to look at it? Because I'm holding a torch to it. Did you want to look at why you're lusting after this person and there's nothing coming of it and you're still not looking at it? Did you want to explain to me why you keep doing this thing that's hurting you? Like gambling or over excessively drinking or doing drugs or escaping via TV, video games, food, whatever it may be for you. Did you want to look at that yet? Because I'm going to keep burning you until you look at it and sit with your own emptiness and fill it with something way better. Whatever that means for you. Are you going to quit chasing the life-sucking orgasm? That's right. I'm going there. Sacred sex. I know. White magic? I don't think the plant's ready for that. Tough gazungas. Tough freaking gazungas. Look that one up. Tantric sex. White magic sex, I think they call it. Kundalini. What else do they call it? Something else. Alchemy. Alchemy, using that sexual energy and harnessing it to drive it in the right direction. Ooh. How about that human homework? How about that human homework? Right. You were put on the planet for more than creating babies. To put in a system. That's a difficult thing to sit with, isn't it? I'm gonna hold space for you. I'm gonna hold space for it. I had to hold space for myself, learned how to do it. Breathe. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's all working out for your best interests, okay? That was how life was designed. So if you can just pay attention to those taps on your shoulder from spirit, source, vital force, energy, whatever you want to call this existence in a flesh prison, this frequency, energy, vibration that you get to be the master of. And while we're on it, you're not a speck on a spectrum. You are the spectrum. You are the rainbow. You are it. Okay? You are it. You're not a speck on it. There's not some giant sliding scale that you just happen to be a little dot on. You embody the entirety of it. And just because you might be on the lower side of the spectrum, it doesn't make you bad. So this high vibe, high frequency, blah, 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 it can bring some good stuff in. Yeah. But if you don't sit with the stuff that's low frequency, aka the stuff that feeds you, you're not going to know what to do with anything on the high frequency levels. I think I'm going to put Corridors by Dominguez. Dominguez? I can't remember. Oh, it's a good song, Corridors. I'll put it in the descript. Write it down, Sarah. You're going to forget. Yoda, baby. Okay. Good thing I did write it down because I was like, what was I going to write? Okay. Anything else? So, yeah. Don't shame yourself for being in a dark place. It's how you figure out what you really need, not what the world is asking you to do. Hey, if you just come over here and purchase a bunch of crap, it'll go away for 5 seconds. If you just come over here and watch a bunch of videos with people doing unnatural things and wasting their chi, and then waste your chi doing it, you'll feel better for, was it 18, 30 seconds, whatever, 2 minutes, I don't know, right? You just eat that chocolate cake, you'll feel better for 5 minutes. If you just, keep rolling those dice, you'll come up a winner. I'm not saying don't roll the dice on anything. Take a calculated risk. You don't need to put yourself out there and be completely vulnerable and put the house on the table and then roll the dice. That's not necessary. Figure out where you feed in the dark. Figure out what's feeding you. How to actually feed yourself. Where the nutrients actually is. Because in childhood, most of us are entrained out of our gifts. Out of our inherent nature of being here in existence on the planet. Most of us are completely bombarded and then traumatized and then denied any source of actual purpose that we might have here on this planet. And it happens on a vast, vast scale of multi-layered emotional, mental, psychological, physical, sexual, societal, religion, regaleo, I don't know. It's not spiritual. None of that spiritual. So all these different layers of life are going to have to be assessed and unbound from. And that's a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna, dude, there's so many manuals out there that you can read about this, but you have to do the work. That's what the biggest issue, this is going to be the biggest issue for the entire decade, mark my words. Personal responsibility. What are you doing with your time, attention, and energy, and resources? What are you doing with it? I'm not going to tell you one way or another. And money's not evil either. I'm sick of people shaming Pentacles. No, that's not it. You shame those? Yeah, they'll leave you. Bye, Felicia. Don't shame money. It's just a tool. It's what people bring to it that becomes the issue, right? So realizing that all these different facets of your life just need a little more attention and need to let go of those limiting beliefs, those limiting constructs that are keeping you stuck in a paradigm that you're not even supposed to really be living in the first place. And to a certain extent, we do need to go through this, to a certain extent. But if we can heal those traumatic things, not just in our own lives, but generationally, if we can start to look at those things and really heal them, our children won't have to go through such agony. Okay? For your kids. Do it for your kids. Love you. Bye.